Alright guys, we're gonna do a video today, just a quick video on these BTR shaft rockers and how you can do the pushrod length with them, or how you can check the pushrod length with them. So there are tons and tons and tons of videos out there of how to do it with a stock rocker. I have not seen a single video of how to do them with the shaft rockers. This is the first time I've ever used them, and honestly I wasn't sure if we were gonna have to do anything weird with them being connected at the shaft here. I wasn't sure if you were gonna have to take off these 3 bolts and then use that to find zero lash along with these, and so I wasn't 100% sure exactly how they were gonna work. So I figured, all right, let me come out here, let me figure it out, and then I'll post a video of it. And that way, if anyone else is, doing their own build and they're ever curious on how to do it, there's going to be a video out there of it. It's super simple though. Basically do it the same way that you do it with, a standard stand and everything. So you're just going to leave the shaft bolts in, and you just tighten this down with your adjustable push rod in there. And so I'm going to show you how we do that. So first things first, make sure that whenever you're doing this, you're using the intake closed, exhaust open method. So when the intake is closing, do the exhaust, and when the exhaust is opening, you do the intake. So let's show you how we find that. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to measure the intake side first. So we'll go ahead and put a push rod. This is, now I just happen to have just a random push rod laying around. If you don't, you can use your checker. But I just like using the push rod just because it's solid. I'm not going to damage any threads or anything like that. So all you're going to do, since I have the full springs on it, all we're going to do is just put a little pressure. You can see we're depressing the cup just a little bit. We're going to turn the motor over, and we're looking for the exhaust to start to open. So right now we're on the base circle of it because it's not moving. And there it goes. It just started to move. So that's what you want. It is now open. So you take that push rod out. Now I'm using a spring-loaded checker, but you can do this with, one of the comp cams twist checker. This one starts off at 6/800, and then every one turn is 50 thousandths. So you can do it with this. I like the spring. It's a Summit PLCLS 7276. Basically, it's spring loaded. So when it's fully compressed, I want to say it's somewhere around like 7/100 or something like that. But that doesn't really matter. Just know that it goes well above what a standard LS is going to run. And they have different lengths, so you can get longer ones and whatever. This one will work for most stock LS applications. So just make sure that this little screw here is backed out so that there's no binding, no nothing. And we're going to drop it in on the intake side. Now the other thing you want to make sure, let me zoom in here a little bit for you guys, make sure that you can access that screw, right? So make sure you put it on whatever side you want to put it on. Make sure you can access that screw. And on this side of the head, there's also a hump. So you got to be careful of that, because as you're checking stuff, you don't want that push rod to hit this, because that would give you a bad reading. So make sure that when you're doing this, make sure that that thing is not hitting anything, underneath it or side to side or anything like that. And make sure you're going to have room to get in there to tighten that nut down just a little bit. Now, the way that I like to do this, you could just come in here and do this one and you'd probably be just fine. But I like to do one on either side of it to hold the stand in place. And you'll see I'm using a Milwaukee gun and I have it on the lowest setting, the lowest torque setting. It's like 4 foot-pounds or something. And I'm just barely running these in until it clicks, and that just holds the stand in place. And then for the one we're actually doing, you don't want to put any torque on it. So I just have a spare socket here. Run this thing down, and all you're going to do is just run it down until it stops. That is where your zero lash measurement would be. And then always make sure before you check anything, you want to make sure that that rocker or the lifter, I apologize, is all the way down, because you've been turning the motor over. There's nothing to push it back down, so you want to make sure it's all the way back down. So normally, I kind of jumped ahead here, but normally I stick the, just the other push rod in there and just push down and make sure it's all the way down. But I'll show you if you, forgot to do that and you're where I'm at right now. So I find it's easier to use a small pair of needle nose. These are just some, real small skinny needle nose. You come in here, because the screw does not take much, and you just do a quick little, just tighten it up real quick. And you'll know when it's tight. Sometimes it takes a couple little things, but you'll know when it's tight because there's no more, like I'm pushing, and it's now depressing the lifter. So now once you're here, if you didn't already double check and make sure the lifter was all the way down, you can do it now. But it is all the way down, we're good. So that's how you do that. Now we're just going to take this off. That is now locked in place. So pick this up out of the way. Be careful not to bounce this around a bunch. Every time I take it out, I always just, give that a little tighten. But you see this isn't moving. It hasn't moved. Take your calipers. That is the only downside to this, is you have to have calipers that are big enough. So make sure you're on 0. I'm going to try to do this so you guys can see. But you have 7.3, 150, and you see the measurement I had before was 7.3, 230. So, I mean, very, very close to what it was. And we can always, if you do double check it like this, you can always do it a couple times to make sure, But anyway, so 7.3, 230 is without preload. So now you need to know what lifters you have in it, and then you need to add that preload to it. Anyway, that's how you check the push rod length. On these, the exhaust side is no different, but we'll show you how to do that. That way you see how to do the whole thing, So we need to now put the push rod in here, and this is the intake side, so when the intake is closing, then you can do the exhaust side. So let me get this motor turning over again, and again I'm just applying a little bit of pressure so I can feel what this cam is doing. It's rising right now. There we go. Now it's starting to close. Don't be afraid to double check it. If you didn't feel it good, you can just go around again, go around 360, or if your bolt's tight enough, you can back it up a little bit and do it that way. I was able to back it up, feel when I went back over the toe, and then came back over again. And so we're on the closing side of the intake. And that means we can now check the exhaust side. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Stick the old push rod in there. Make sure you saw me push that lifter down, and it did fall down. If you don't do that, you're going to get a really weird measurement with this thing. Because it's spring loaded, it may not push it all the way back down, and you may get funky numbers. So make sure that it's all the way pushed down. Come in here, screw these back down. Just like before. And again, this one I just kind of run down, don't touch it. Grab it by hand. And you just want to make sure right when it snugs up. Like, I can go a little further, but don't. Just right when it snugs up. That's all you want. And then lock it in place. And like I said, sometimes if you have a really small, I don't really have a small Allen that fits in there, so this is what I find works the best for me. If you have a small Allen, that obviously would be a little easier sometimes, but I mean, you'd have to be pretty small. There's not a lot of room there. But it's locked in place. You can see now, like, I'm pushing pressure on it, and I would have to decrease the cup in the lifter if I want to make this thing move. So it's locked in place, and I haven't found one move yet doing it this way. So unscrew everything. And again, I always just double check, lock it down. Grab your calipers, zero them out. Seven three four two five and 73415 is what I had before. So all right, so that is how you measure for push rods with these. And I know I have for these lifters, they're the high lift, like stock replacements, high lift Johnson stock replacements. And I have between like 30 and 60 thousandths of preload. So I ordered some 11 32nd 080 push rods from Frankenstein Motorsports. And I ordered them in a 7375. That'll put most of me right around like 35 to 40 thousandths, and a couple in like the 50 thousandths range. So within spec, everything will be good there. These shaft rockers are really nice. I'm really excited to see how they work on this motor. I don't think the cam we have in it will go to 8,000, but we should be able to get to 7,500 with it pretty easy. These are ported 317 heads. They got 208 on the intake, 160 on the exhaust for the valves. They're hollow stem intake valves. Gonna be running a bolt together Holley carbureted intake with a quick fuel 750 E85 carb. But yeah, we should be able to go to 7,500 super easy with these things now, and have really, really stable valve train. So once the push rods come in, we'll come back, we'll get a video of putting the rest of the motor together, putting the intake on it, and after the intake's on, it's pretty much done, ready to go. We'll get the MSD box all set up and ready to go, and then hopefully set up a dyno day to go and get it on the dyno. Not really sure what it's going to make. I'm hoping 600, 650 would be like ideals. I don't know if the cam is quite big enough, but I think we should be able to get close to 600 with it. But yeah, it's like 11.5 to 1. It'll be on the 85. Gonna be a nice little motor, nice little nitrous motor. It's actually gonna be up for sale. I was gonna put it in my Nova, and I found an aluminum block instead, an aluminum LS3, and got a really good deal on it. So we're gonna actually end up selling this. This is a 381 cubic inch. It's a 3898 bore with a 4-inch stroke. It's got really good parts in it. I had planned on, you know, pushing this thing pretty hard and doing drag and drive events and everything. So this was built for drag and drive events, and to make, you know, 1,000 horsepower at the tire. When I found the aluminum block, we're just going to go with a 400 cubic inch. We're going to use a L8T crank, which is a 3850 crank, and a 4070 bore. We got to bore at least 5 over, just to clean everything up, get them ready for the new pistons. And yeah, so it's going to be like a 403 cubic inch LS. That's the new build. So we're gonna push rods have already been ordered. They've already been shipped actually, so they should hopefully be here next week. Today's Friday, so hopefully next week they'll be here. And yeah, like, subscribe, follow. There's gonna be a lot more content coming out, a lot more engine building content coming out, and we're still gonna be, you know, we're still working on the Nova, doing a lot of stuff with that, and you know, we're gonna learn a lot doing that Nova. But we'll do the next build much more in depth. I didn't really think about doing it for this one, and so on the next build, we're gonna go through, you know, the machine work stuff. I'm hoping that my local machine guy that I'm gonna use will allow me to come in and maybe take some videos of it, getting machined. We'll be back with some better videos. You know, bear with me. It's pretty new to me, so just want to kind of decided I was gonna record the build for me, and decided, you know what, why not? It's cool. Maybe other people want to see it. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to, you know, go from what it is now to my first drag and drive event. So let's keep pushing at it, and you know, we'll get there eventually. So anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. That kind of dragged on a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but I wanted to be, you know, thorough with you guys and show you everything. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys see something that I do wrong, please feel free to, you know, say it in the comments. I'm not a professional. I do this, you know, as a hobby, and I enjoy doing it. Always open to learning new things. If you guys got an easier way to do something or anything like that, let me know, and you know, we'll go from there. But thank you guys again. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.